Yo, what it do? It's your boy Yellow the Board, and today I am here with Miss Cindy Starke. She has MD, she also has PhD, so you might want to call her Dr. Starke or Dr. Cindy. Most definitely, she is definitely accomplished, passionate, engaging, and energetic, as well as a pioneer in what she's been doing. She wears many hats, and today we're going to talk about some of those many hats. Welcome, Dr. Cindy Stars. Thank you so much for joining YTP Entertainment. Greatly appreciate you. Please let the audience know what you got going on.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. Yes, I'm a doctor up here in Gainesville, Georgia. And like we were talking about before the show, my time is mostly kept busy watching both my musician children performing all over the city. And that's like the joy of my life. And I'm a nature girl, and I'm always out in the nature, camping and hiking. And but then when I'm not doing that, I'm taking care of patients and helping heal the healers of America from all across the country.
That is so awesome. And you say Gainesville, Georgia. I actually lived in Georgia for 16 years. I lived in Atlanta, Ackworth, Marietta, and College Park.
Okay, well, I grew up in Forest Park, so it's right next to College Park.
Yes.
You guys were one of our rivals. Grandbabies.
Yes. She just decided to pop right on up in here.
Well, now we got to see her because I can see her arm.
Look.
Oh my goodness, you are beautiful.
Say thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you see X marks the spot?
Oh my goodness, not right now. Hot mess. She loves Walmart. This is her favorite store. She calls it X marks the spot.
Oh, cool. I was just there yesterday. One of my favorite.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite stores too. You can stretch your dollar at Walmart.
Now, go close the door, okay? Go close the door. Thank you. She's the best. She loves to pop in on my podcast every once in a while.
She's going to be famous.
Yeah, she keep doing that. She definitely will.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. Where do these children get their ideas from? I don't know. They just come up with it, come up spontaneously and just all over the place.
I have a dog and a cat that on some of the Zoom calls, I'm always in classes. I'm always teaching myself new things. And there's a famous dog and a famous cat that's always right here in the camera. Like we've all gotten to know them, you know?
That is awesome. That is awesome. So one of the things that I'm curious about too, because I was reading your bio and I'm so loving this. What practice are you actually in as a doctor?
Yeah. Well, so I'm an internal medicine physician and I work at hospitals in the Northeast Georgia mountains, 2 of them.
Okay.
But then also, so I used to be a full-time doctor for 17 years, but I retired a few years ago. After the pandemic, I get really burned out. And so now I am doing a little bit of hospital medicine, but then my main focus is also on hospice. So taking care of the dying patients up here. I have like 30 to 60 at any one time under my care. And then also home health. I'm also a medical director of home health. So people that are in their home.
Wow.
So it's funny. I try to keep people out of the hospital, and then I also take care of people in the hospital.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So I was definitely congratulate you in my head for as an award-winning author, doctor, entrepreneur, and mentor. That is amazing. What was
Thank you.
your first experience like being an award-winning author?
Well, that book that I wrote, it was about this really very difficult time in my life where I was trying to train to become a triathlete, an Ironman triathlete. What Ironman is a distance. So for someone that does things as the speed of that I do them on, you run and you bike and you swim for 17 hours. And anyway, I had trained for 6 months and I got there on race day and I didn't finish the race. I was too slow in the middle and they pulled me off the course. And so the whole book is about how I said that's not going to be the story of my training for Ironman. And I repeated the training all over again. And I picked another race about 2 months later and I successfully crossed the finish line. So that's what that book is about. And it was really fun being an award-winning author because they asked me to speak at my kids' school and things like that. It was really, really touching. I wanted to go and speak also at a Girl Scout companies and different things like that, but unfortunately, it all that attention kind of caused some problems in my marriage at the time, and so I kind of just like put all that speaking on hold for a while. But yeah, it was really great.
Awesome. That is
Yep.
that is lovely.
Hmm.
Award winning. Oh wow. So that experience, were you nervous at all?
Yeah. Do you mean like the day of the race?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I started crying even the second day. So the first time I did it, I was just kind of ignorantly, naive and excited. But then after I had been pulled off of the course and I repeated the training all over again, when I got back up to that start line 2 months later, I started crying. I told my mom, she said, "Why are you crying, Cindy?" I said, "Because I think the same thing's going to happen again. I don't think I'm going to cross the finish line." She said, "Yes, you are. You've done everything right." And I said, "You're right, I have." And so it was just momentary, but for sure it was you got to really, it's really hard to believe in yourself sometimes.
Yeah. When you're looking at such a big and huge event, it can definitely be that way. So
Yeah.
that's definitely understandable. Those types of events, I must say, I've never gotten a chance to actually be a part or a participant in it. But oh my goodness, I have some friends that were actually participating in triathlons and different types. Like I have one friend who participated in the special needs race. And he was in the wheelchair and they had to race across the finish line. He was super nervous.
Yeah. I was going so slow. I think what slowed me down that day more than anything was there were 6 foot swells in the ocean, and where we swam was in Panama City Beach in Florida, the
Right.
flattest, stillest water you've ever seen in your life. But that day there were 6 foot swells, and so with the first big wave, my nose clip, fell out, broke in half, and came off. Then one of my earplugs came off and I just kept getting kind of like, the undertow was moving me off course a little bit. And by the time I finished the swim, I was with all the Special Olympics kind of people. Everybody was like a swimmer was pulling the disabled, I guess, for lack of a better word, the disabled athlete in a canoe. And that's who I finished with and went on to the bike.
They now say
What?
special needs.
Mm.
That's what we say for when because I drive the school bus, so we're dealing with more than 200 children per day, every day, and I drive the Gen Ed, which are what's considered the normal children, and some other bus drivers drive the special needs, and that's what they call the ones that have the challenges.
They
So
call them special needs.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, special needs. Yeah, I didn't know exactly what they would be called in the Ironman setting, but yeah, that's who I was finishing. I just saw all these kayaks all around me, and I said, I didn't know what was going on. I thought they were like rescuing me with a kayak, and I'm like, I'm doing fine. But there was an athlete in the kayak, and they were a 2-man team. That's what was going on. So it was really humbling to be a part of all of that, to see how big of an event it was.
Uh-huh. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool because you actually get a chance to interact with, a diverse group of people who are doing something or have experienced something a little bit different than you. That is wonderful.
Absolutely.
And I love stuff
Absolutely.
like that because you get to have another thought or thought process in your head because you're actually interacting with people that you even heard about, may have seen before, but didn't actually get a chance to interact with them. And during your race, you actually got a chance to interact with them. So it kind of like put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, and swim right next to them for sure.
That is awesome. And I love swimming because I think that it actually, from what I've learned, is works the full body. And I like basketball.
Yes.
So basketball works the full body too.
I never thought about that. Yep. Both my kids played basketball. It was a little tough to watch as a mom because it would kind of get rough on the court sometimes.
Well, one of the things I learned is in basketball, we can get a little angry at one another, and it even gets to a point where we may even want to fight one another. But it's like at the end of it all, your sportsmanship kicks in because you respect the fact that you have so many other players out there on the basketball court giving you different types of challenges.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I know one time my son, he had to, I don't know what was going on in the rec, but we were at Hall County Rec and they didn't have enough boy teams. And so he had to play against a girl team and he did not know how he felt about that because they get really rough, the boys do. But he had to, and he just had to treat them like they were just humans and you can't be worried about the gender, just play basketball. And I don't remember who won, but he had to do the same thing in tennis once. We just have a really small county up here.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm, mhm.
I know sometimes it can be difficult, especially when someone just throws something out there. They didn't even tell you, like, hey, you're gonna be playing against girls. Like, what? Are you
Yeah,
serious?
that's not what the schedule said.
Exactly. The schedule said this team. It didn't say this team was all girls.
Mm-mm.
That's what it gives
Exactly.
you.
You just got to do what comes up, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We had
Hmm.
some of those challenges when we were growing up. They didn't tell us, but I tried out for the track and field team, and I found out real quickly that it was not something I wanted to do, so I didn't actually go through with it. But they had us racing boys and girls racing, so we were racing co-ed, and they was explaining to us that a lot of the games at that time would be co-ed, but as you get older, a lot of times they change it to all males or all females. So I don't know why, but that's what happened.
Yep. Yep.
But it's cool. I liked it. I liked actually running and showcasing my speed. It was fun. But I don't know, I just didn't see a future in it. So I just didn't want to do that.
Right, right, right.
So when you were growing up, where did you see yourself going?
Well, it's interesting that you should ask because really the reason that I became and kind of what I'm doing in my life right now is because of something that happened when I was growing up. I had I would say, very humble, blue collar family. There was some dysfunctional behavior in there. My brother was into alcohol and drugs, and some things happened to me that I really wanted to get away from the house, and I saw education as a way out. I don't know. There was a guy I was dating at the time. He's the father of my kids. We're not together now, but I was 15 and I met him, and his dad's instilled in me this idea of going to college. And I said, well, that would be a way to get away from this dysfunctional family. And so that's what I did. And I went to college and I was suddenly around all the people in my classes were going to become doctors. And what I realized is um I don't know, after I got the 2 doctorate degrees and then I did that Ironman triathlon, I said, why am I just doing so much in my life? And I just realized I was kind of this overachiever, and I was trying to prove I was worthy of the protection I didn't have. Some, things happened with me and my brother's friends, when I was younger. My parents didn't protect me through that. I didn't feel like I was like worthy of even love from a man because they were just mistreating me. And so overachieving kind of made me feel, look, I'm worthy. But then by 46, I had worn myself slap out. And I just remember looking around me, and I'm like, a lot of doctors and case managers and nurses and everybody in these healthcare organizations, they're looking after everybody else, all these patients, but nobody's looking after the workers.
Yeah.
And so that's when I opened my doors a couple of years ago, and I just help all the nurses and case managers and secretaries. I help them find their limiting, like where they're stuck, and get better. And so yeah, now I'm like, this entrepreneur stuff is really fun, and it's very rewarding. And I just feel like, unfortunately, a lot of people, the same thing I was seeing in the healthcare workers is happening across everybody in the country. We're living these lives of quiet desperation, and everybody's just so lonely and hurting.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. But so many of us fall into the traps of just mentally, before we even get to the physical, so many of us fall into that trap of, I'm not going to be anything. I can't do anything. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I see all these people over here doing this thing. I see all these people over there doing their thing. But what can I do? Nothing.
Yeah.
Because I've never put myself in a position to challenge myself to see if I can do something or not. So when people have that mindset, I learned that it's really hard for them to actually come out of that mindset, because it's so easy to stay there and stay put. It's like a person on drugs. Once they get addicted, that's the path that they only see. That's the only path that they see. But after they go through and get some type of help, then they realize, okay, there's more to life than that. But are you strong enough not to relapse? That's the huge question that's always in the back of the mind. Are you strong enough not to relapse? But yet keep going forward with your life.
Yeah.
Some are, some are not.
Yeah. One of my clients, she told me I could share her story. Her name is Hannah, and she came to me at 35 years old, and she was a teenage mom at 14. And she's from schizophrenic parents, and her parents were so mentally ill, they did not even send her to school, and they got charged with truancy, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't think that still happened.
Yes,
And so she dropped out of school. She became a mom, 14 years old, and got a GED. And when I met her, she was just this hopeless military wife. She was on second marriage, 3 babies. And I just saw this hopelessness in her eyes, and it was like the hopelessness in her in her soul. I don't know if people can relate to that, but I took her under my wing, and I listened to her and poured into her, and I believed in her, and the little tiny spark, I fanned it, and it became a flame until it was like roaring flame. And that girl just called me 3 days ago. She just got offered. So she went back to college, went to get a psychology degree, and she just got offered a job on the military base as a child psychologist. I said, Hannah,
you can do this. You can do this. Yes.
I was like, I'm doing such good work in the world. It was like the best day of my life. I've just been waking up, just praising God for letting me have that opportunity to I just met her one day online. We were in a group fitness program for military wives, I mean, she was a military wife. I wasn't, but we were in a group fitness program, and I just met her, and I just reached down my hand, and she took it. So exciting.
Awesome. Yes, indeed.
So exciting.
Those are some of the most rewarding moments, definitely. And it's
I
like
know.
you reciprocated what the cosmos sent to you. The cosmos,
Yeah.
hey, so many doors have been opened for you. Now it's time for you to open the doors for someone else. And you reciprocated that message. You took action on that message. You executed that message. And now look at the product of that message.
Yeah.
Look at the
Yeah.
product. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just, all I can think of is like, what are her kids gonna think? Like that nothing is off limits now because you can have a GED and still get a master's degree in psychology and be a counselor. Think of
Yes.
how many people she's gonna help.
Think of how much better her understanding of a bad situation is than for someone who's never gone through that. Oh my
It's,
goodness. Oh,
yeah. Like, and if there's ever a time when she felt like I'm not worthy of taking care of people, like all she has to do is look at her own life because she's going to be a glimmer of hope more than anybody else could, you know?
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Self-reflection.
Yeah.
Self-reflection. Yes, indeed.
How do you pronounce your name?
It's pronounced yellow.
Oh, yellow. It's like the
Yes,
color yellow.
like the color
Yeah,
yellow.
yellow. I mean, it's just you open up somebody, you open up somebody to a world of opportunity where then they can go and help other people. And it's just that ripple effect is amazing.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You
That
know?
reminds me of what I did. I was back at home. I was literally about 22, 23 years old. I had just opened up my first shop for airbrushing. I was doing airbrushing. And one day I took some time out to hang out with one of my friends, my best friend since sixth grade. We were inside a restaurant in Chicago, one of the worst neighborhoods, but because we knew people, nobody actually bothered us. So this little boy walks inside of the restaurant. When he walked inside of the restaurant, I looked and I was kind of like, afraid for him. Like, oh, hey, are you okay? What's going on? Is anybody bothering you? I didn't even give him a chance to answer any other questions. I was just so concerned because he couldn't have been more than maybe 5 years old walking inside of the restaurant by himself.
By himself.
I was asking him, I was like, are you by yourself? And then I had to stop for a moment. I had to think, like, okay, give him a chance to answer the question. So I was like, are you by yourself? And he said, no, I'm not by myself. And I'm looking around, looking out this huge window that's clear with nothing in it. Like, well, who
Where
are
are
you?
your people?
Exactly. So he said, I'm with my mom and my dad and my sister. And I was like, okay. So I'm looking around like, where are they? So the father peeps around the corner,
Oh, thank God.
see him through the glass. And I was like, come on, come on, come on. And I told all of them, come on in, come on in. And so they came inside of the restaurant and the owner was, he was like, no, they can't come in here. I said, what do you mean they can't come in here? It's a public place. He was like, no, they can't come in here. They're not welcome in here. I said, either they're welcome in here where I'm spending my money, or I could take my business somewhere else. And you know me. You know that I brought a lot of business to your establishment. So I can definitely tell all those people to come, let's go and get away from here. And we'll have this place shut down in no time. Take your pick. I was
What
like,
happened? I'm dying to know what happened.
so he was like, okay, yellow. I'm not gonna argue with you. I said, thank you, I appreciate that. I say, so I asked the people, I say, what do you all want? Are you all hungry? What's going on? So the man was telling me his story about how he lost his job and he lost everything and everything just went downhill for him. So I was like, okay, I will get you all something to eat, get you all enough to last you for at least a few days. So
That's so nice of you.
it's me. It's the way my grandmother raised me.
Yeah.
So my best friend was like, man, he said, man, I can't believe you. And he was kind of like so in awe that he started, kind of like being in tears. And he was like, bro, he's like, God gonna bless you. God gonna bless you. I was like, it's all good, man. I'm just being myself. So I told them to order what they wanted. They ordered one thing. And I was like, no, I said, order what you want. Trust me, you're not going to break me. Just get what you want. So he was like, we're good, we're good. I said, bro, you just lost everything. you don't have anything, you don't have a place to stay, you don't have anything. So don't tell me that you're good, just get what you want. So he continued to order one thing. I said, give them 3 each for everything that
Mm,
they ordered.
mm.
Give them 3 each. And the man was like, oh wow. And he was like, well, they need to wait outside. I said, no, they don't. They need to wait right here. You forgot, but you forgot this one portion of the message that I told you about, right? We
Yeah.
shut you down, and we can. And he was like, all right, Yellow. It's like, you got it. You got it. I was like, okay, thank you. Let's get these people
Mm.
their food. So we finally got them their food. And I told them to check it, make sure everything was right. They was happy. They were pleased with how the food looked. And after that, I said, hold on, don't go anywhere. I got another gift for you. So I actually took them down the street. It was like maybe two, it had to be anywhere between 3 to 4 blocks away was this little motel. So I had taken them down there to the motel. I paid for them to stay into the motel for a month.
Oh my goodness.
And then I went and talked to some of my friends about getting the father a job. I went because I cut hair too. So I went and cut his hair, I cut his son hair, and then I sent the mom and the daughter to the shop to get their hair done.
Oh,
So
wow.
I talked to some of my friends to see who could help this man, get a job because he explained to me what his experiences were and
Yeah. What are his skills? Mm-hmm.
I talked to some of my friends. We helped him find a job, and he had stayed on that job for a long time. And it was a long time before I seen him again. After that, it was probably maybe about 4 or 5 years after that. I seen him later. He walked up to me because he recognized me. I didn't even recognize him. And he was like,
Um,
"Oh my God!" He's like, "Yellow." He's like, "Man, you don't remember me, do you?" I was like, no." He's like, "Yeah, I done got cleaned up everything. There's a lot better. Things are going great for us. Me and my wife. My wife is working. I'm
mhm.
working. We bought a house." I was like, "Cool, that's awesome." And he's like, "You remember at the restaurant right around the corner right here? Because that's where I saw him at." He's like, "The restaurant right around the corner." He said, "That was me and my son and my wife, my son and my daughter that you helped us." And he's like, "Man, we'll never forget what you did."
Mm,
Anything I can do for you today? I was like, "No, I'm good. Don't worry." I said,
mm,
"You've done it already. You came up. You did everything that you're supposed to do to be successful as a father, as the man of the house. You did everything."
mm.
I said, "That was my thank
Wow.
you right there. That was my thank you. That's all I needed."
Yeah, yeah, because I would imagine not ever. I wonder what the percentage is that they would actually go and do that. You can't ask for better than that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's
Well,
simple.
that's a beautiful story. What a wonderful heart you have, and what kind of legacy that you are leading to all these people of just generosity and belief in people.
Yes, yes, I definitely have belief in a lot of people, and I refuse to believe that people have to stay on a path of negativity, pessimism, and just self-doubt. I refuse to believe that people have to stay on that path because no one has to stay on that path. It's what you choose. And if
Yeah.
you have the ability to choose to stay on that path, then you have the ability to choose not to stay on it too.
Mm. That's a good way to look at it. Well, I'm really glad that his 5-year-old son walked into the restaurant that day.
Yes,
Because
yes.
otherwise you would have never met that man.
Exactly. But I'm happy I did. I'm hoping that everything is even better now than what it was back then. Because that was a while back. I was literally in my early 20s.
Wow.
That was
That
fun.
is incredible.
It was a beautiful thing. I mean, when I first got my business, I waited until I started making some profit, before I did the next thing. But I was helping people to pay their rents, helping people to put clothes on their back, helping some homeless people to get off the streets. I did a lot of stuff, but I don't look for a personal reward or anything like that. I just look to see what they're going to do after I've helped them. And I want to see
Yeah.
if they're going to keep going or are they going to just give up again?
Right. Well, I'm glad you had that success story. He'll remember you for the rest of your life, and I'm sure you'll remember that story for the rest of your life too.
Yes, indeed. That's what it reminded me of when you helped the young lady out. That was awesome. That was super
Yeah,
awesome. And
yeah,
it just shows that there are people like us out here, and we're willing to give ourselves to help other people, and especially knowing what at least a portion of what their challenges are. If we know just a portion of what their challenges are, then we can make the choice to actually act on our empathetic side and help these people out.
yeah, yeah. That's so true. I I had another client sometimes, so I use tools where we actually rewire the subconscious mind so the limiting beliefs are gone, and you never know exactly what kind of like wonderful things are going to happen. But this other client of mine, she just I just know she came to me when she was really overweight, she was depressed, she says she was emotionally eating, she'd gone through menopause, and I don't know if you guys ever have this realization like as women do, but it's a definite change in our lives, right? From when we're fertile and then like, all right, boom, something changes and we're toward the end of our lives now. And at the same time she was going through menopause, unfortunately, her mother started really going downhill from dementia, and she started not actively dying, but getting, I mean, it took 10 years for that disease to take her mom's life. But, the menopause, the alcoholism, the depression, all that was right in the middle of all that. And so here she is, you're kind of like faced with your own mortality. And then you have your mom there who's now, getting more and more debilitated, and she's in her deathbed. And she came into my program, and we got rid of these limiting beliefs that she said she just felt like she was stuck and depressed and she couldn't get out of it.
Yes.
She was like, I think some of your listeners can relate. We are just kind of numbing with alcohol, or we're numbing with emotional eating.
Yes.
And we went in there and we just kind of ripped out these limiting beliefs. I listened to her, accepted her for who she was, taught her these very simple tools. She could do these tools now driving down the road. And she also called me the other day, and I mean, I've watched it happen. This has been a process over the past 2 years. But she opened a cleaning business. She is out there. She can make such good money cleaning because there's a lot of Airbnbs in Florida, and so she's working the way she wants to. She's lost all this weight. She stopped drinking. Her mom passed away, but she like, when that relationship ended, she said she was able to get relationships that are more fulfilling with her sister and with her daughter. And she said the last thing I remember her telling me is that I feel like I'm finally able to give and receive love the way it was supposed to all along, just being children of God. But she just couldn't because she was so full of self-hatred.
That's true.
It's hard being an American sometimes. I don't know if everybody has the problems we have, but it is hard being an American sometimes, Yellow. And the things I see, I just want to really help people. If I can just help one person, I feel like my life was worth living.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Mm,
I love that because I always say if I can help one person per month, then that one person go and help somebody else, then it'll be a trickle down effect, and I'm satisfied with
yeah,
that.
that's a great way to look at it. I like that, one person a month.
One
Because
person,
I mean, like, even if you don't have to change the whole world, you can change the world by just changing a few people.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
As
Good
long as
point.
people feel like they have finally overcome whatever traumatic or dramatic experiences they've gone through, they also get to a point where they feel compelled to help somebody else. And that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. So true. It's really a blessing to be able to help other people, because why are we, in the position we're in? It's just a blessing. So, just like you said with the people in the um restaurant that night, you're not more fortunate than them. They just a bad cycle of events started happening, you know? And so many people would just like, you know, look down on them and not even help, but you did. So that's
Yes,
amazing.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes,
Hmm.
I was, I noticed something that you said that you're not sure if other people go through those things. Well, speaking to different people from various countries, from various continents, from overseas, because I get a lot of people on my podcast from different places, and you'll be surprised that there are a lot of them that actually go through the same mental challenges that we actually go through, but some of them take their mental and their physical challenges and they try to like combine them together. Whereas for us, we kind of separate what's mental and what's physical. Some of them don't do that. So it just depends on where we are or how a person actually thinks. But a lot of people in this world are still going through the same things. And it's funny because I was also telling my son just 2 days ago, I was just telling my son, I said, I get to meet a lot of people throughout my entire podcast. And out of all these people that I meet across the world, I've learned that everybody in the world has a problem in some shape, form, or fashion, be it big or small. They have a problem and they have to figure out a way to deal with that problem. I said, but it's funny how we all share these experiences, but we still have racism.
Mm.
Doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. How can you
Mm-mm.
be racist amongst humanity? How can you be racist amongst a bunch of humans that share the same experiences as you? We put our clothes on the same, we take them off the same. We have mental health issues in every single nationality in the entire world. So then we have people who have other issues, and there are also a lot of them are the same. Some people experience drugs, alcohol. Some people experience, death. Some people experience the near-death situations, psychic abilities. Like there's so many things that we as humans go through in life. Why not learn from one another as opposed to being prejudiced against one another?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with two genders. Like, I don't understand why anybody would think that just because someone's a woman that they can't do, make as much money or have the same amount of opportunities that are available to men. It's the same thing. So I hear you. It's and I figured it was universal across all countries, but I just don't know because I've never lived in another country. But
I
yeah,
didn't.
humans are humans.
Yeah, that's right. Humans are humans. I didn't live in any of those countries. I never got a chance to. If I hadn't talked to the people that were living in those countries, I was always curious about that as well. Are people in other countries having the same experiences that we're having? How do they feel about it? What do they think about it? And getting to talk to these people on the podcast, I finally get to learn and see that, yes, they experience the same problems as we do. They have to figure it out just like we do. It's no different. It's no different.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate, but it's also, I guess good in a way to know that we're all just human.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, at the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, we are all human.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love though, because remember I was telling you I do the school bus driving, and one of the things that I admire is gentrification, because the children that I drive to school or drive back home, these children do not care anything about racism, except for a few of them wonder why does it make sense for the elders to treat other people like that when we're all humans? And I've heard
Mm.
it's funny, and I'm happy to mention this because it's funny that a young lady, she was only in sixth grade, and she asked that question: why do the elders feel like they should treat or mistreat other humans because of the color of their skin?
Yeah.
Sixth grade.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome awareness,
Yes,
It,
indeed.
it's it is, I hear people, and we could talk for a whole hour on this, but we won't, but I hear people excusing the older population, you know, because, oh, that's just how it was when they were growing up. But I'm
Mhm.
like, they need to learn new things then, you know?
Yes,
It's
indeed.
not okay. It's not cool.
Yes, that's true. That is so true. I agree. I feel like this is the one thing that every human being needs to embrace. And there's this one key word, and that key word is called change. We are all
Mm,
here to make a difference. We are all here because of the word change. When you were born, you changed the path in which your parents had to go down. When you were born, you changed something about that classroom when you first walked into that first classroom to go to school. You changed something. So if we have the ability to make these small changes into big changes, then we have the ability to make changes. And those changes right there, you can change from being prejudiced to a person that finally understands that, yeah, this is humanity and nobody's going anywhere. So I need to get with the program. But if you choose not to get with the program and you continue to stay in that bubble that you're in, guess what? You've also asked for all the problems that come with that bubble. So don't blame
mm.
anybody else except for yourself if you choose to stay there and not embrace change.
Oh gosh, that's such a good point. Yeah. It's I thought your one word was going to be acceptance.
Nope, I say change. I mean,
Yeah.
because a lot of people can, a lot of people can show forms of acceptance. A lot of people can pretend to accept, but you cannot pretend change because anything that you try and do differently, if you say you've changed and you try and do something different from what you supposedly changed to, it's going to show. It's going
Mm,
to.
okay. I like that. Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I can say that because I grew up in a neighborhood where you had blacks living on one side and whites living on the other side, and some of them pretended, like these guys say, pretended that they were going to be my friend, and they were not about all the racist crap and all this stuff. But they tried to take my bike. It was five boys. They tried to take my bike from me, and they tried to beat me up. But it didn't work because at the time that they tried this, I had already learned different styles of fighting and I was able to defend myself. Plus, my friends came along shortly after.
That's awesome. What good timing.
Yes, the timing was perfect.
They messed with the wrong kid that day.
Yes, they did, but they found out.
How old were you?
I was about 7 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Mm.
And the time that they were messing with me, I had just recently won my first Golden Glove boxing match. Yeah.
I wish I could have been a fly on that wall.
It was a lot of fun to grow up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, but the racist portion of it, I wish I could just erase it because it was
Yeah.
necessary. It was. It was unnecessary. And it's crazy because I never took on a mentality to dislike or mistreat anyone because of the color of their skin based on the stuff that I went through. I felt like what I went through, it was probably a opportunity to see if I was strong enough to keep going, and I am strong enough to keep going, and I refuse to ever look down or look at anybody any differently just because of the color of your skin. Hell,
Yeah.
if the rainbow has different colors, what the hell make you think that humanity is not going to be different colors too?
Yeah. And you can't control it, you know? Like I can control the color of my hair.
Yeah.
I can control different things, but I cannot change. I mean, believe me, my son and I both wish we weren't as white as we are because we get burned. People assume certain things about us.
Yes, they
But we cannot change this.
nope.
And it doesn't make you different on the inside. And, you know, in medical school, we had to dissect 16 human bodies and the amount of skin that you know, the amount of your body I don't know how exactly I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say, but the color of the skin, it is so infinitesimally
Yeah.
small. I mean, like you cut through everybody's arm, through everybody's stomach. Everybody looks inside the same inside, the like a micron below. You know, it's just crazy.
Yes, it is.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
you're preaching to the choir. I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
is. It's fine. I mean, it
Made you who
helped
you are.
shape me who I am today, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, made you who you are.
And the beauty of it is, all those people who tried to look down upon me and frown upon me back then, they can't touch me now. So it is.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like they could back then either.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my goodness. I'm so loving. You got over 20 years of medical as a physician. That is
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I've been a doctor for a long time. That's why I had to transition to part-time, because after COVID, it was really they really overworked a lot of us. And so now I just love it. I work about a third of the month. I do about 10 days. And
Uh,
then I take the other 20 days and I take care of my clients and I do my hospice stuff, my home health stuff. But the now I'm in my 30th year now. And it's just, it was really nice. Semi-retirement is the best decision I ever made.
Awesome, awesome. And it's
Yeah.
gives you the opportunity to do other things, to actually interact in other events and spend
Yeah.
time with children. It gives you a lot of time to do other things, and that is wonderful. What made you
Yes.
want to get into the podcasting?
Oh goodness, I love talking. My mom used to say I had phone fever, and I would just love to call people and talk, talk, talk. And but then I don't know, it was actually like about literally just a month ago, March 3rd is when I decided I'm going to do this in a much bigger scale, but I was in this business development group, and there's a doctor, a plastic surgeon. He was interviewing doctors, and I was on 6 of his shows like January and February, and I said, I bet you there's a lot more podcasts than this one plastic surgeon. And so I joined Podmatch, and I have met the best people, and I have just had the best time talking to everybody from around the world. I feel like I've met my kindred spirits, you know.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I
Yeah.
totally agree you on that. Oh my goodness, you couldn't have said it any better. Kindred
Yeah.
spirits, plural, kindred spirits. You couldn't
Yeah.
say it
I
better.
hope I didn't. I hope I didn't mishear you a second ago. I think you said 20 years of medicine. I hope you didn't say 20 podcasts. I
No,
mean,
I said 20. I said 20 years as a physician, over 20 years
okay,
of
good. Goodness gracious. I was like, because I just hit like my 20, I think I just recorded my 22nd podcast. So I also finally got over 20 on that too. So I just wanted to make sure. But yeah,
awesome.
it's just so fun. And I love meeting people. As a physician, unfortunately, I mean, one thing I love about it is that I get to meet, 16 new people a day, but they're all really sick and they don't want to talk very much. So you guys are like the world changers. You're like the light warriors. You're the best people to talk to. Y'all have something in you, each one of you, that made you go and do this. I mean, what was it that made you go and start this podcast?
The
What's
thing
your mission?
the thing that made me want to get into podcasts is I wanted to actually travel to a lot of places all over the world, and I want to actually meet people all over the world. So being into a podcast actually gave me the opportunity to do that. And my mission that I was telling you about is that if I can help at least one person per day, then I feel like that one person can share that information with somebody else and help someone else. And I have one gentleman, his name is Dylan Canlin. And we were just talking, he was just on the podcast just before you. And this was his second time on my podcast. And
Oh,
he kept talking about how he has progressed from the first podcast up until now, and all the advice and the information that I was giving him. And he has really progressed very well. He actually has a smile on his face quite often. And whereas the
Good.
first time he didn't smile much at all. But now you see a lot of smiling, and I even go to his LinkedIn page. He has a lot of pictures, and you see him smiling a whole lot more. So I am super ecstatic to see the
great.
progress that he has made.
Yes. Well, my goal is to inspire and educate people and to make you look good. That's my two jobs, you know, and I want to give you my best, and I try to know what I'm talking about, package it and put the best face for it I possibly could. And I mean, no one even, I don't think, taught me to do that. I just know if I'm going to be on camera, you got to give it your all, and the best thing you can always wear is a smile.
Yes, indeed. But I wear two things. I wear my smile and I wear my passion.
That's good. I like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You got to wear your passion, because if you don't have a passion for it, you won't last long. Believe me.
That's true. Yeah. Well, otherwise, what are you doing it for?
Exactly.
You're going to get tired of it in 2 weeks.
And that's no good. That is no
No,
good.
no. That's a lot of effort and a lot of equipment to buy for 2 weeks.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, Miss Dr. Cindy, I ask that you please give us something motivational to take us out.
Okay. I just want people to know that whatever it is in their background, whatever happened in their families, whatever your generational trauma, your generational wounds, however it is that you've been your whole life, it's never too late to change. And you don't have to be defined by your past. Your future can be completely different than your past, whether it's your past or whether it's your family's past.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome.
Yep.
So true. So true and so awesome. Yes, thank you so much for
Yes.
that. That is so true. So true. And not being defined by your past, you'll be surprised that your future can definitely erase a lot of things in a person's memory that happened in your past.
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
So, Doc, please let us know where we can actually reach you, where we can find you and get more information or more in tune with your works.
Yeah, I always tell people to go to my website, and it's just my name, drcindystarke.com, and there is an E on the end of Starke. And my book is there, and I have a free for your guest 15-minute phone call. Anybody who wants to call me, and let's see if there are some subconscious blocks that are holding them back, that we can get them out of that feeling of unworthy or incapable or just feeling stuck. And yeah, it also has a training that I recorded. It's like a 30-minute training, so it has everything there. I spend a lot of time making it look making it, have everything it needs to have. So that's where I send everybody to, not my social media channels, but my website has all that stuff on there too.
Awesome. That is awesome. Because that to me, that's the best way to get the people to see what you're doing, how you're doing, and the best way that they can actually interact with you. I totally agree with you on that, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And let me, before we get off of here, I want to share this with my audience as well as yours. And you can give us a little more insight if you choose. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, there you go. So see that little book a call thing? That's where you can get 15 minutes with me. And then, and if I see that we need to talk more, we can, book another call after that. And then reserve my pass. That is where that's that training that I started. It's 30-minute training. And then if anyone wanted to have me speak or be on a podcast of theirs, all the other stuff is there at the top. But those are all the places where I've been a speaker, and I'm also a published author in some of those newspapers and publications right there. So yeah, thank you for showing that.
Yes.
It looks beautiful.
It's
Yay.
definitely a beautiful page. I gotta admit, definitely. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. And I
Thank
want
you.
the people to actually see that in the podcast. That way they
Thank you.
say, hey, we saw it. We saw it in the podcast. Go to the end of the podcast. You'll see the website.
Oh, that's good. Or if they're not on the right one, they'll say, no, that's not it because she's not there in the green dress or whatever. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And I have a green outfit on today too. It's my favorite color. I was going to wear that dress. I'm glad I didn't wear that dress. They'd be like, man, does she own any more clothes than that? Something told me to put on something different. Yellow. I'm so glad I did. I've never had anybody do that before, show my website. So I'm glad I changed clothes.
Told you, I'm always
You got me.
different. I'm always trying to be different. I got to make it good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cindy Stark. You have definitely been a wonderful guest. Thank you so much. I had fun. This was amazing. Your stories are amazing, and I really, really hope that not only my guests, but yours as well, learn a lot from this podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Peace and blessings, and I definitely look forward to following you and checking out some of your work.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You